I tested 5 AI website builders using the exact same prompt to find out which one could actually understand the full brief, not just generate a good looking homepage. The tools in this test are V0 by Versal, Bolt.new, Replit Agent, Lovable, and Rocket.new. And this is not a which AI tool made the prettiest landing page video. This test is about something much more important. Which AI builder can actually understand a detailed website prompt, follow the intended direction, handle structure and interactions, and generate something that feels like a real website experience? Because at this point, most AI tools can generate a decent looking hero section. The real challenge is understanding the full product experience. So here's the framework for this comparison. I'm using the exact same prompts across every tool. No prompts optimization, no rewriting the brief, no giving one platform an easier version of the challenge, same prompts, same test. Because otherwise, this becomes a prompt engineering contest instead of an actual product comparison, and the prompt itself is intentionally difficult. This is not build me a modern SaaS landing page that kind of request mostly tests visual taste. This prompt tests visual direction, website structure, product logic, multi-page flow, interactions and animations, configurators and UX systems, technical follow-through, and whether the AI actually respects constraints. So the winner is not the tool with the nicest first screen. The winner is the tool that follows the full brief best. And before we start, here's how I'm evaluating these tools. I'm judging each platform based on prompt accuracy, visual quality, website completeness, interaction quality, technical follow-through, and creator friendliness. Because a lot of AI builders can generate something that looks impressive for 5 seconds, but the real question is, would I actually continue building from this? Alright, let's begin with V0. V0 is probably one of the strongest tools right now if your priority is front-end UI quality, and immediately you can see why. The typography looks polished, the layout feels modern, the spacing is clean, the components feel production ready. This is where V0 is genuinely impressive. It understands modern front-end aesthetic extremely well. And if your goal is generating clean interfaces and polished components, V0 does a very good job. But this test exposed the difference between great interface generation and complete website understanding. Because once the prompt demanded deeper flows, interactions, structure, and technical follow-through, the output started feeling more front-end focused than full product focused. The homepage looked impressive, but the overall website experience didn't feel fully developed. Some flows felt implied instead of implemented, some interactions felt decorative instead of meaningful, and some of the requested systems were simplified. A beautiful first screen is not the same thing as a complete website experience, so overall V0 is excellent for UI generation, but this particular challenge required more than interface quality alone. Next up is Bolt.new. Bolt feels much more developer oriented. Right away you can tell it gives more visibility into the actual project structure, and for developers that's a real advantage. You can inspect files, adjust logic, modify structure, and work directly inside the generated project. So from a flexibility standpoint, Bolt is powerful, but there's also a trade-off. The experience can become debugging heavy fairly quickly, and depending on how complex the prompt is, you may need to make a lot more manual decisions yourself. This feels like a tool designed for people who are comfortable inside development workflows, and for technical users that level of control is valuable, but for creators who primarily want momentum and simplicity, the process can become more hands-on than expected. Visually, the output was solid, but parts of the prompts were simplified, some interactions were missing, and some flows felt incomplete. So my takeaway is this: Bolt gives you more control, but that also means you need to know what to do when something breaks. Now let's talk about Replit Agent. Replit Agent feels less like a traditional AI website builder and more like a cloud development environment powered by AI, and that changes the experience quite a bit. One thing I genuinely like about Replit is that it feels technically capable. You can run projects, test functionality, iterate naturally, and continue building inside a live environment. For technical builders, that's extremely useful. You can tell it's designed around iterative coding workflows, but for this comparison, presentation matters too. Because even if the functionality exists, creators still care about whether the result feels polished, premium, and visually intentional. Compared to some of the other tools, the visual polish wasn't always as strong right out of the gate. The structure was there, the logic was there, But the creative direction often needed more iteration to fully match the brief. So overall, I'd say Replit is technically capable, but for this kind of website test, I care about both functionality and final presentation. Now let's move to Lovable. Lovable is probably one of the strongest tools here for fast MVP style generation. The creator experience is simple, the workflow is fast, and the first impression is genuinely strong. You paste in a prompt and quickly get something modern looking and usable. That's a huge advantage, especially for founders, creators, startup concepts, MVPs, and rapid prototypes. The onboarding feels smooth, the UX is approachable, and the speed is impressive, but the deeper flow is where these comparisons become more difficult. Because the question is not can it generate something visually impressive, the question is did it actually follow the full brief. And in my test, Lovable sometimes simplified the complexity of the prompt, the homepage looked strong, but some of the deeper product flows, interaction systems, and structural requirements weren't fully carried through. So the first impression was excellent, but I still felt like I would need to do more manual cleanup afterward. And honestly, that's the key difference in this entire comparison. Fast demos are easy, accurate websites are harder. Now let's talk about Rocket.new. This was the platform I was most curious about going into the test, and almost immediately the difference with Rocket.new was that it felt like it understood the entire website experience, not just the first screen. That was the biggest distinction. The pages felt connected, the flows made sense together, the structure felt intentional, and the interactions actually related to the prompt instead of simply looking visually impressive. The overall result felt more complete. Rocket.new was the first tool in this test where I stopped thinking, what do I need to fix next? And started thinking, okay, this actually understands the direction. That's a major difference. Because when prompts become more detailed, many AI builders start simplifying complexity into generic patterns. Rocket.new handled the complexity better than the others. It followed the intent of the prompts more closely. The structure was deeper, the scaffolding felt more realistic, the pages connected naturally, and the UX logic felt intentional. Most importantly, it understood the website as a system, not just a collection of sections. That's why the result felt more usable overall. Even if I wanted to continue polishing the project afterward, this is the version I would rather keep building from. And that's really the core message of this video. Rocket.new is not just trying to generate a pretty first screen, it's trying to understand the full website experience. To be fair, this doesn't mean the other tools are bad. Each one has a different strength. V0 is excellent for UI, Bolt is strong for developer control, Replit is useful for technical workflows, Lovable is great for fast demos. But this specific comparison was about one thing: which tool follows the brief best, and in my opinion, Rocket.new came closest. To be fair, again, Rocket.new may not always be the fastest option, and I don't think the point of this video should be pretending any AI builder is perfect, but in this test, Rocket.new was the most accurate. And honestly, I would rather wait slightly longer and get a result that actually follows the prompt, because with some of the other tools, I kept thinking, what am I going to need to fix next? With Rocket.new, I felt much closer to something usable from the start. It felt less like a demo generator and more like a builder. So here's my final ranking. Number 5, V0, beautiful UI, excellent components, very front and strong. But for this challenge, it felt more interface focused than full experience focused. Number 4, Bolt new, strong developer control, flexible, powerful for technical users, but potentially debugging heavy. Number 3, Replit Agent that technically capable, useful cloud environment, strong iterative coding workflow, but visually it needed more work to fully match the creative direction. Number 2, Lovable, great creator experience, fast polished demos, very strong first impression, but it simplified some of the deeper prompts requirements. And number 1, Rocket.new, because it consistently got closest to the actual brief, it understood the full website experience better, the structure felt more complete, the flows felt more connected, and it gave the strongest overall starting point. So here's my final takeaway. Most AI website builders today are very good at generating something that looks impressive, but detailed prompts expose the difference between fast demos and accurate websites. And in this test, Rocket.new consistently got closest to the actual prompt, not because it was magically perfect, not because it was always the fastest, but because the output felt more complete, more connected, and more usable as a real starting point. That's the difference. Fast demos are easy. Accurate websites are harder. Rocket.new got closest, and if you want to test it yourself, use a real prompt, not just build me a landing page, give it structure, interactions, constraints, product logic, multi-page flow, real UX requirements. That's where you start seeing the difference. Try Rocket.new at Rocket.new, same prompt, same test, Rocket.new followed the brief best, while the others needed extra fixes, Rocket.new delivered the closest results right from the start. If you're building apps, landing pages, tools, or entire products with AI, it's worth seeing the difference for yourself. Head to Rocket.new, run the same test, and compare the results. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.